the cheaters, if that's an issue that can never be fixed, and personally, I think that is an issue that can never be fixed because there's always going to be cheaters, that needs its own separate team and bin project for like everyone to work on it.
There's certain things when it comes to making a game and you're going to be charging that price and things that are just constantly broken. There's problems that they just don't even bother fixing over the course of years because they just know people are going to buy the game regardless. And they have a list of things that they want to get taken care of. There's certain things that maybe the fans think are really important, but they don't care about.
Welcome everyone to episode 222 of the COD Casuals. We're your host, Justin.
And I'm Mike.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, bro. It's been a good day. I just was talking to the art teacher at my school yesterday, and she was like, "This is the last rotation of kids that we have. So we have them all split up into these groups, and we see the groups. Well, there's 5 of them, and we see them once a week." And she was like, "Well, we have 5 weeks of school left, so this is it. Every time we see these kids, it's gonna be the last time we see them." Dude, that just put me in such a good mood
Yeah.
to think because I'm all for the rest of the year, I'm just doing the final project with them, you know?
Mhm.
I'm not doing anything else, so it's just mega chill mode. Um, so yeah, that put me in a good mood for sure. I was
Yeah.
definitely because it's like when you finally reach that end of the year, and especially for that one guy who hates it, with the weather we got today, bro,
Oh, yeah.
it's absolutely stunning out. So it just overall, the vibes are great.
Yeah, no, the weather's been nice. Well, the past 2 days. Saturday here was a bit cold and windy, but today's beautiful.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's every Saturday there's rain. It's every single time, no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it could be just a
Mhm.
beautiful week all week, and then Saturday I get up to go to work and it's just pouring rain, or it's
Mhm.
like gray and it's like cold out, and I hate it. And it's been
Yeah.
like over a month that it's been like this.
Yeah. I don't know what's happening. It's like well, no, last Saturday we had that one good day where it was nice and hot, but then
Yeah,
the rest of the week was rainy.
right.
So, we're pick your poison. You want a nice
Yeah.
day during the week or, um, a nice day during the weekend? I
So
I vote the weekend. Fuck
yeah,
that. I don't
same.
care.
Yeah. Well, and it's strange too because when I check my app, it'll say that it's raining. Like I think it said tomorrow or Wednesday is gonna rain, and
Mhm.
then I get all bummed out. But when you actually look at it and you see when it's gonna rain, it's like
It's
either
scattered.
yeah, or what it is. It's like from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. it's raining, you
Mhm.
know, or like way later in the day it's raining. Which to me, I'm like, oh, dude, I don't care. Like as long as I'm driving to work and it's not raining, and leaving work and it's not raining, then I don't really care.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Exactly.
I just don't want to
Um,
be out in it.
yeah, but no, it's been good though. The weather's nice.
Things been
Uh,
going well with you too, bro?
yeah, for the most part. Work's just been a bit stressful lately
Mhm.
for me, so it's, I don't have any time off really at all coming up, but that's kinda just on me though. I haven't really planned anything.
Right.
So I gotta plan to take some days for my mental.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm doing that this week already. I'm taking a couple of mental days. I've been using them up like mad, but,
Mhm,
um, yeah, dude, you need to. I always spoke down or didn't think that much about, like, people saying that mental health days. I'm like, "Oh, get a grip." Like, it's not that
mhm.
big of a deal. But, dude, now that you're, like, actually working and everything, you realize how important it is.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like, "Man,
yeah,
it's no joke."
yeah. I mean, I say that, I don't do it though. I don't take mental health days. My mental health days are like, I plan, like, a trip to do something. Like, I can't take days where I'm not doing something.
Right.
Like, it feels like a waste for me, but then, like, towards the end of the year, I'm like, "Gosh, I have so much time that I need to use, and if I don't use it, I lose it." So then I just end up taking, like, 2 weeks off, and I don't do anything.
Right.
So
Which
I just gotta do a better job of, like, spreading it out during the year.
yeah, no, I hear you. Even on those days where, you just you have to take off random days and you don't have anything planned. Sometimes those can be just great days where you literally do nothing. You're like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything, you
Yeah.
know?
I get that, I need that, but I can't get myself to take a day because 'cause I'm like,
Right.
I worked for this day. I wanna use it for, like, something I want.
Right.
not just to sit around.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just gotta take some days off during the summer, enjoy the the weather.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it again, since it's getting better out, it's definitely gonna be worth it to go and do it. I mean, screw it. You know, even
Yeah,
those days where they're just kind of randomly planned, if it's like 80, 90 degrees out, like you can just go out and do stuff, you
yeah,
know.
no, yeah,
If you take a day during the winter, around here there ain't really much you can do or
no,
that you
yeah,
even want to do.
exactly. Yeah. All the I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'll just save the days till later on in the year or when I actually go on a trip or something," and
Right.
then I never actually end up using all the days that I need, and I just bank a bunch of time off. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but but yeah, no, other than that, everything's been good. It's just I've just been tired.
Yeah, bro, I hear you. It's like it's every damn day. It's the work grind, bro.
It is
It
every damn
yeah.
day.
It's like now I get why my dad was always tired, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Dude, I
I
don't blame you, man."
I also didn't get good sleep yesterday either. So,
Yeah.
like, I just couldn't fall asleep, dude. It's like
Nah, I
1
hear
in the
you.
morning. I was like, "Yo,
You're cooked.
I gotta be up in 5 hours."
Right,
And, like, I
right.
can't fall asleep.
Yeah, dude, when you get to that point in the night, that's when, like, you start panicking a little bit,
Yeah,
you know?
I'm like, "What?" I've never done it before, but I'm like, "What would happen if I just stayed up?" Like, it's another 4 hours or 5 hours.
Yeah,
Um, but I have learned that any sleep is good sleep. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah,
if you can take an hour nap, do it, 'cause that 1 hour can push you, like, an extra 4 or 5 hours if you really need it.
right. Yeah, I don't nap at all. Like, I probably
Mhm.
should, like, when
I
I
don't
get a
nap
chance
either,
to.
but
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been told it's like a negative, but I don't really see why. It's like, especially if you're
no,
someone who needs to catch up on sleep, like,
n
it's good.
naps
Just take a quick power nap.
napping's actually good if you do it like, the ideal time to nap is well, time limit is, like, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Like that it's actually good to nap, but I don't nap at all. When I do nap, it's, not intentional.
right,
That's when I know I'm, like, very, very tired. I'm overtired
right, right, right,
because, like, if I sit on the couch and I fall asleep, that's my body saying, like, "Dude, you need to sleep," because that
right.
never happens. I never just go and, like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a nap for, like, an hour," and then wake up.
Yeah. Well, and especially too, if there's like, I mean, to that point, even if getting home at like 3, 4 a.m., I'm sleeping. Like I'm sure there's
Yeah.
people out there that would just be like, oh, screw it, I'm gonna stay up. Like, why not?
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
really
yeah.
that tired or whatever. Um, yeah, I can't even remember, dude. Even back when we were gaming, I can't remember the last time that I pull an all-nighter. Like
Yeah, I'm trying to think when uh, I think the last time I did it was the end of March, but that was just, like, I had to. Like, I had a
right.
flight at, I had to leave at 4 o'clock, and we were up till, like, 12, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Dude, it's
Nah,
chalked. I'm just gonna
yeah, forget it.
whatever," and I had the rest of the day off anyways, but I got home, then I fell asleep for, like, 5
Yeah.
hours, but
Well,
that's when it's bad, when,
yeah,
like, you
it's
get
really bad.
back at, like, I don't know, it's like 5, 6 PM. You're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take a nap." And then that nap turns into like a 4 or 5 hour nap. You wake up and you're like, "Well, I guess I gotta go back to sleep again to restart my day."
Right, right. Yeah, I that's why I don't even bother with, like, trying to nap because 'cause I'm always fearful that something like that would happen.
Mhm.
But, yeah, dude, I see people, like, just on Twitch in general. Obviously, I get those guys are on different schedules, some of those streamers. Like, I think of Parasite. Dude,
Mhm.
there's times where I get up for work, like, a lot of times, and he's still streaming, you
Yeah.
know? He's obviously on a completely different schedule,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'm sure there's people out there who are watching him who are not on that schedule, but they still will just stay up all night. They'll stay
Oh,
up
yeah.
all night gaming or like doing whatever. And man, I think I've gotten too old to be doing that, man. That's a journey to be doing that. It's like, yo, we're pulling an all nighter. I'm like, oh, dude, I got to get the supplies.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, no, exactly. I gotta know in advance that
yeah,
this is gonna happen, and, like, yeah, that's not a multiple day thing, especially
yeah,
when you have to do stuff the next day. It's not like, you're not doing anything the next day. If you're not doing anything the next day, it doesn't even matter.
right.
Um, but if you have stuff planned the next day, then yeah, it's hard to rally and push through.
Yeah. Now, I always get into the mindset of even if I have a day off, like say, I get done with Friday, and then I'm like, "Oh, screw it, I'm just gonna stay up all night," but then I crash on Saturday, like,
Yeah.
halfway through it. I feel like I've completely wasted that day,
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
So
that's the thing. You gotta crash that night.
yeah,
Like, you have to get back onto the normal schedule immediately. You can't let it, catch up to you.
right. Yeah, dude. It's nuts to think there's people who are I'm sure there's tons of them out there playing, like, Black Ops 6 and playing, Warzone who are legit just pulling all-nighters pretty much, like, once or twice a week, just
Mhm.
grinding that out. Like, brother, I need to know how old those people are, like,
Yeah.
how do you do that? Does your body get used to it? Like, I don't know.
I didn't even do that when I was a kid. Like, I didn't pull all-nighters at all when I was a kid. So,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I couldn't
I stayed up
remember.
late, like, really
Right,
late, but I always caught like, I would stay up till, like, 5, 6 a.m., but then I would sleep until, like, 3, 4 p.m.
right. Dude, I'm trying to think back to, like, when we were playing MW3, and I'm trying to think about it being I'm pretty sure it was Black Ops, uh it's probably Black Ops 3 then, um, which I remember when we got it, you were at my house, and you guys stayed up, like, mad late. I think it
Yeah.
was you and our other buddy, and I was like, "Oh, man, I'm going to sleep, like, forget it."
Yeah.
Um, and then you guys just kept playing,
Yeah.
And even during then, like, it's probably up till, like, 2, 3 AM playing,
Yeah.
um, but even back in the day, dude, that was hard to do. Just
Mhm.
for me, at least, it was hard to stay up and play one game too, like, playing COD all
Mhm.
night, you
Well, that's
know?
the thing. You gotta be fueled, and the game has to be really, really good. But also too, like, some people literally can function on just less sleep.
Right.
Like, if I get 6 hours, I'm good. Like, I don't need the full 8.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
if I got the full 8, that'd be nice, but
Yeah, I don't know, some people just function that way and they can do that no problem, like, it's not hard for them to stay awake, or if
yeah.
they take, like, a 2-hour nap, they're totally good. They're like, "Oh, yeah, man, I'm it's like
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
woke up to start the day," you know? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
dude, could you imagine trying to play Black Ops 6 all night, though? Like, at this stage in the game, bro?
No.
No, no,
No.
no,
All night? No.
I
Well, that's what I'm saying, the game has to be super engaging. Like, the last, well, when was it? Maybe MW2 or MW3? One of those, like, early on in, in the game. It might have been MW3. Me,
It
you,
was.
and, like, one of our friends, we were, like, up till, like, 6 in the morning or something like that. I think we were
Yeah.
playing ranked. Maybe it was MW2. We were playing ranked with those 2
Was
other
it?
dudes. It might have been that.
It could have been. Well, at
Uh,
launch, I remember at launch we played MW3, and because that was, like, relatively recent, and we stayed up
yeah,
late. Even when Black Ops 6 at the release of Black Ops 6, I remember we stayed up
yeah,
mad late. We stayed up till, like, I wanna say, like, 3:30, 4 AM.
yeah, there was, like, a moment I remember because I was still at my parents' house, and
Mhm.
my dad was getting up for work, and, like, the sun was, like, I heard the birds and the sun was coming up.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
can't remember, like, what game it was, but that's when I knew. I was like, "Oh, man, the sun's up
Right,
and the
right. That's
birds
how
are
you know it's
chirping."
bad.
I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Okay."
Yeah.
Like, we
Well,
were on late.
and again too, like, the game has to be good.
Mhm.
You can't really have any issues of it. Like, I just saw, this morning, um, I think it was, Dexerto tweeted it out, and it was, some clip from Nate Shot's stream, and it's just the same stuff, like, we talk about it all the time, but we haven't recently, because it was about the cheaters, and
Mhm.
basically, like, summing it up on his end, he's like, "Dude, I don't get why they keep putting out, like, them being, the developers, they keep putting out these statements saying, 'Oh, the Ricochet's banned this many people, done this, done that.'"
Mhm.
And he's like, "Dude, just stop. Like, no one cares because every time you still play the game, it's a complete disaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who even knows what these stats are and these people that they're saying they banned 60,000 people,
Mhm.
you know? Um, and man, that's their job. Like these guys have to play that all the time.
Mhm.
Like I couldn't imagine that. If you didn't have that problem, I'm sure, you could do it. It'd still be tough, but man, having to log on and still deal with those problems like
Mhm.
all these months later, I don't get that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, luckily, the people that are variety streamers, or they just have a big enough audience where they can say, "I'm not playing this game. I'm gonna go do something else," and a mass amount of their followers will still go and watch. those people are good. But then if you're a creator in one space, like a niche space, it's pretty hard, like keeping up with it, especially if it is your main job. Like the worst is probably for the professionals, like professional creators and professional players, because you have to play it. Like
Yeah,
that's what you get paid to do. And again, it's just like hopping on any game that you just don't like it. And you have to play it.
yeah, dude.
You're
That's
forced to do it.
right. Well, because to your point, your audience isn't gonna follow you.
Mhm.
I even see it with Scump when I go on there from time to time, and he'll be playing. What's the name of that game that he's got his custom skin in? Like he's got his character in there. Do you
It's like
know?
Rogue something, I think.
Yeah, something along those lines. But when he's playing that game to compared to when he's doing like a CDL stream or any like ranked thing, oh, bro, like nope, not a lot of people want to tune into that. It's still
Mhm.
a, like nothing to sneeze at. It's a lot of people watching him,
Mhm.
but you can tell there's a clear fall off of people who just want to go watch him play Call of Duty. You
Mhm.
know, and man, for his sanity, I'm sure you have to go and switch that up. Even if it's at the price of your viewers,
Mhm.
and you're not going to have as many. Um, like, if you're just gonna be streaming that game only constantly, um, yeah, I don't really know how you do it. That's why I don't know how Parasite and seeing like Havoc, like
Mhm.
those are the 2 people that come to mind who are always playing. I just don't know how they
Ye
can mentally deal with that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta have a true passion for it,
Yeah,
because at least, like, you can tell when Scump's having fun on the watch party. Like, the watch
right.
parties for them, that's probably a dream job for them. They just sit and talk about what they like, and they're good at it because they
Y
know what's happening.
right.
Uh, it's better than sitting and playing ranked for, like, 2 hours, getting cheated on the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, that would just mentally wear on you, and
Mhm.
again, like, a lot of people talk about it with the game just not being as good as they would hope for. Um, I can see that, but just dude, you think about the people who've been doing this for years and years, like, when the
Mhm.
last time they actually had a game like that where they felt it was that good,
Yeah.
you know? Like, it's one thing if you're competing, um, but if you're gonna have to be playing ranked play and there's all these issues with it still, like,
Mhm.
man, how many of the last games we've been playing, there was always some stupid thing that, like, made the game insufferable,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, even for us, like, we don't even play ranked, but like, the scoreboard. Dude, the scoreboard's been broken the entire year in Codcaster, not in actual ranked. But as a viewer, when we're watching CDL matches, the only one that's not broken is Control, I'm pretty sure. Or it might be S&D. I think
I
it's Control.
I mean, I wanna say it's
I
like
think it's
they're all
Control.
broken, but there's I think control
No,
is, like, least, like, of an issue.
no, so I thought they were all broken too, but I'm pretty sure Control is the only one that actually works.
Okay. Which,
But
how?
again, yeah, oh yeah, how? I like why isn't that fixed? Like
Like
I'll look at a game, uh like Boston game, for example. They got smoked. They got 3-0'd. I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, we're in what was it? We were in round 4. Snoopy's 0-6. I'm like, what the fuck happened? And
right,
then I actually look at his stat. He's not 0-6. Yeah, he's like 5-6 or whatever.
right.
Um, and it's just so deceiving. Like I look, we shouldn't have to guess.
No, and, you know, like, before we keep going with the CDL stuff, it's just these little things that are broken in the game that can have a big like, I say little things, some things like that, for people who are watching, it's obviously a pain and obvious for Scump
Mhm,
having to go and watch party, and you have no idea how these guys are doing.
mhm,
Um, but there's just been a level of this stuff that has, like, gone untouched, and it's not being fixed,
mhm,
and I don't really know what they're working towards. Like, I don't really know if this game is still being looked at and they're still trying to
mhm,
improve on this game. Like, I wonder where there's that cutoff point where there's an issue and then they try to fix it and then they can't.
mhm.
And then the next title's coming out and they're not even going to bother anymore because they're going to just put all their resources into that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wish we had like an insight on what they prioritize, because at least relating it to what I do for work, it's like I am more on like the project manager side and I work with like I guess the so-called devs. Like technically, right?
Right.
And we'll work with them. So, like, say I'm working with a developer, we'll work with them and like, hey, here are issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We open up like a ticket to them for them to like fix it, and then it goes through our whole like prioritization process, and then they rank like what is the most important. So the scoreboard thing obviously is not that important to them at all, but like, okay, that fine, right? I think everybody can understand. All right, there's simple things that aren't like we can survive without it. Um, and yeah, sure, that can get put at the bottom of the list. But what are you actually prioritizing? Like, what is number one that you're like really, really working towards? And don't tell me it's a cheaters. And if it is a cheaters, then I mean, this kind of goes against what like Nate was saying. Like, stop saying, "Oh, we banned this amount of people." Like, give us more information about what you're doing. You know, like because if cheaters, which I would agree is a number one priority, like fix it. It can't be number one forever. You know what I mean? Like that list
Right.
has to be checked off.
Yeah, and that's where I think we've been for the entire state of this game is
3 years.
right, well, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, even just
yeah,
beyond that, I mean, it's been
yeah.
an issue, but with this year's title, that was the main thing that people
Mhm,
wanted to have fixed because the rank play came out and was, broken because of this, um, and yeah, like, we're all waiting for that to be checked off and for them to go to the next part of the list.
mhm,
And my thing is, when it comes to something like that, the Codcaster, which there's no, I mean, look, maybe this is just way beyond me, but bro, there is no way that's that difficult to fix. There's
oh,
just no
no, no, no.
way.
I'm sure it's not, but they have to do it by the order that,
Yeah. And
you know, they're
like,
prioritized. Because
and to me, I'm like, dude, can't we just get a couple of guys, like, put them off to the
yeah,
side
yeah,
and bang
no,
this out in an afternoon and call it? Like, can't we just do that? I get
yeah,
that's not how it works, but
yeah,
like,
you they
that's
probably
how it
can.
should work.
'Cause, coming from, like I'm sure anybody that's listening to this that's, like, some form of a project manager, like, it's so frustrating, like, because when I work, it's like, okay, there's a process for everything. I understand that. But can we just like, can this one piece not be part of the process? And can someone just fix it and just do it? Because they know they can get it done pretty quickly, but they have to follow the order that it goes in, or it has to be, you know, submitted a certain way for them to go and fix it. Whereas, like, dude, it's so superficial and it, I understand why they do it, but at the same time, I'm like, this probably takes maybe a day's worth of work compared to like the months and months you're working on the other thing. And then at
Right.
least you get it done. But yeah, I don't I'm sure that's what's happening. And I'm sure the non-tech people, I guess, that are trying to manage all these issues are like, well, we can't do anything because we're trying to manage all these issues and we're going based off of what they think is most important, which is true, but things need to be done.
Yeah, but then there's these things that get left on the fucking list for years.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that's been a problem for years,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it
I know. It's
and it bothers
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody who watches the game, all the tens of thousands of people, I mean, hundreds of thousands of people
Mhm.
throughout the year and the season who watch that. Like,
Mhm.
come on, I
Mhm.
get again, some projects or things will take years to try to work on and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's so ridiculous that these things, which I mean, who knows what's at the bottom of that list? Obviously, we've got our own, and everybody that plays the game has their idea of what should be fixed and
Mhm.
could be. But a little thing like that, to see it just go on for
Mhm.
years and years and it never gets fixed, um, it's pathetic.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
yeah, like, part of it, I think, is, like, you have to have a good, obviously, whoever is at the top, right? Like, they have full say in everything, but a good project manager gets that shit done and checked off. Like, I don't know what those PMs over there are
you
doing.
calling out the Activision project managers, Justin?
Yes, I am. Like, 'cause the clear, issue is the cheaters. That's number 1 priority. I 100% agree with that, but if that issue is never ever gonna get solved, that needs to be moved to another like board or bin, whatever. So it's constantly being worked on. And then we can move on to the next project and just work our way through because there's always going to be issues. But
Right.
the cheaters, if that's an issue that can never be fixed, and personally I think that is an issue that can never be fixed because there's always going to be cheaters, that needs its own separate like team and bin project for like everyone to work on it. And again, like we don't know when that cutover is, like you said. Do people really care right now about these issues or like what? But I'll say like if the scoreboard's glitched, the I don't know, titles aren't working, my level's not working. Yeah, I'm gonna be annoyed. But if there are no cheaters in the game and like movement and I get a fair match every single time, I'll take that all day, even though the other stuff's broken and I'm not saying it's acceptable, but I would much rather them fix all that stuff than the little glitches.
Yeah, of course. Uh, the little things just add up over time, you
Yeah, they
know?
do. Yeah.
I mean, the
Especially when number one isn't being resolved.
right, right.
Yeah.
You know, you get frustrated with the big things and then realize that they're not gonna get fixed anytime soon, so then you just start
Mhm.
nitpicking everything.
Yeah.
Even though, again, some of that stuff I don't even believe is nitpicking.
Mhm.
And again, we'll get to it, like, towards the end of the episode because I really wanna talk about it. It's like, man, when you've got these AAA developers and these billion-dollar companies, I hate when people say that about certain things when they're like, $1 billion, or how was it, $500,000 franchise, a million
Yeah.
dollar franchise, whatever. Like, but there's certain things when it comes to making a game and you're going to be charging that price
Mhm.
and things that are just constantly broken. It's the whole EA saga. It's like every
Mhm.
EA game that you play, like in those, like whether it's 2K or,
Mhm.
Madden, like there's problems that they just don't even bother fixing over
Mhm.
the course of years because they just know people are going to buy the game regardless. And
Mhm.
they may be in the same situation that Activision is in. They have a list of things that they want to get taken care of. And there's certain things that maybe the fans think are really important, but they don't care about.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no, but dude, I completely agree because some of at least when I have to deal with prioritization stuff, it's like they're and people are aware of this too, at least like on the PM side. They're like, well, we'll go talk to our clients or whatever, right? If you tell the story in this way, that'll bump you up. Like you have to sell
Mhm.
the story of like why you want this to be fixed in a certain way. And there's like here's option A, which is what most people do. Like say scoreboard's broken. This is why it needs to be fixed, and here's our reasoning. Right? Submit a ticket to the team, then the team goes and ranks it among like the other issues. There's option B. Um, okay, same issue. Scoreboard is broken, but this is why it needs to be fixed. And maybe we don't do the entire story. Like we don't fix it as a whole, but we fix small parts of it. And that will be picked up faster because it's not in the same list of prioritization.
Mm.
It's little stuff like that that is just so frustrating. It's like, why don't we just fix it?
Right.
Like, and if you know the loopholes, I guess, of how to get things fixed, then it's fine. But again, like, I think the biggest thing in this game, or just in COD in general, is the cheaters. And if that is number one, which I imagine it is, it's never going to get fixed. So you got to move that out of the way and fix everything else.
Right. And you don't, of course, you're not going to abandon it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's got to be a point where you move on and realize. I mean, I just think you need to go in, like you said earlier, you're going to have a separate team that just
Yeah.
only works on that. So that way everything else can get resolved in the game.
Exactly.
Um,
And if they don't have a
because,
team like that, Activision, yo, we know you have enough to
right.
have
Well,
multiple teams to do this.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
That's all to my point, you
yeah,
know? Um, there shouldn't be this level of incompetency
yeah,
with the most popular FPS that's ever happened with, one of, if not the
mhm,
biggest publisher in the game. Like, this stuff should not, this seems like really basic problems that they have here.
mhm, yeah,
Um, but I'm sure it's like a whole list of just people that, they gotta check this off before they can do
yeah,
this, and then they gotta talk to this guy and this team and all that. And
mhm,
it has to go through 80 people before they can go and even, look at the game code to fix
Exactly.
something,
Yeah.
you know?
Unless the CEO is like, "This needs to be fixed now." And then,
Right.
all hands on deck. Everyone's gonna go and fix it.
Right. Because yeah, when, like, you go and watch the matches over the weekend, to your point, because we had a bunch of good matches, and then we had some that were absolutely terrible.
Yeah, Sunday
Um,
was pretty bad.
oh, that was a
It
horrible
was
day.
boring.
Yeah, I watched it and, like, I don't know why I did. It was it
Yeah.
was pretty
Yeah.
terrible. But to what we're saying, you go and watch these matches, and half the time you're watching it, there's guys who are like 0 and 2, and they're like, into the second round of rotations in hardpoint. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
oh, he's 38 and
Yeah.
21. I'm like, oh shit, he's frying. you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's it's really annoying. But thankfully, like, there's some times where it's working, and then, of course, at the end, it's fine. But, yeah, I wrote it down in our notes because obviously the main person we wanted to talk about there's a couple of things we gotta talk about, but obviously, OpTic, they went and brought in I don't know if we said that in the last episode where they brought in Mercules.
No,
I don't
they
think so.
announced it, like, afterwards.
Yeah. Um, I was I was kinda surprised by this, pickup, not in the way, like, I thought it was a bad move for him. Um I just thought that they were really gonna stick with Skies, for
Mhm.
a bit. I didn't think that they were gonna waver from having that team split up again. Um, but they did move Skies to the bench. They didn't drop him off the team. Um, I'm assuming they're probably gonna go and keep him until the end of the year and then part ways with him. Um, but yeah, they announced that they picked up Mercules, and I think the only other team that he ended up declining was Cloud9.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, they signed him, and I think it was the right move. I think it was totally the right thing for them to do. They had to make a change, no doubt. They were really bad with Skies, and he was playing badly. It's just a fact.
Mhm.
And yeah, Mercules, like we said in the other episode, man. I mean, he couldn't have had a better debut, and that dude is the truth, bro. He has
He is.
continued. He is insane.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that guy is great pickup. Ev It's funny, everyone says, like, he is
Shotzi's nervous.
everyone's like, he's the next generational talent, which, like, that's pushing it. Like, I think he's really good, but it's just I don't know. It's insane when people are saying that, in my opinion, because there's not that, like, many teams. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, back in the CWL, when Simp came in, you knew he was a fucking, like, real deal. Like, everybody was hyped for him, and you're playing amongst, like, more than 12 teams.
Right.
Not saying Merc is, but, like, I'm sure if there were, like, 16 to 20 teams, Merc will still be up there. Like, he's frying. But also, he is he's frying while on OpTic, and he's making the other players on OpTic look worse than him, which is
Right.
crazy. So, yeah, I don't know. Generational talent's just very, hard for me to say. I don't know how to explain it.
You're basing this around too you saw the flank where they were talking about the plumber era and what they're dealing with now. Did you see that debate?
Yeah, yeah, I did see that. I mean, I think that
Yeah,
debate's just, like, stupid. Like, you can't compare in anything. Like, you can't compare, like, apples to oranges.
it's an
Like,
era. You can't compare
yeah,
eras
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
I do see the point of, I think why I brought it up is because you're kind of echoing the same things in that back then you had way more teams, and overall, I think there was just a lot of really high end COD that was being played,
Mhm.
across the board. Um, and when we saw on Sunday, I mean,
Yeah, no, it's not.
that shows where it's at in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shows where it's at in this league. Every one of those matches for people who didn't watch them, you didn't miss much. It was just 3-0s across the board. Um, and they weren't close 3-0s or deceptive. Like it was pretty convincing. Um, and that just shows the level of play on the top teams. Like that's where the bar is. I think Parasite said it best, man, where like the potential or like the ceiling of the game that people try to reach for, it's always the same people that reach it. Like it's
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
guys on
and yeah.
Thieves that reach it. It's all the guys on
Mhm,
Phase. And then, like this year is weird with OpTic, but it's
mhm.
usually just the same 8 to 12 players that
Mhm.
really hit it, and then, get some teams with sprinklings of players who get
Yeah.
to that ceiling. Um, so at the end of the day, like, yeah, he looks really good. Mercules, again, calling him a generational talent this early is whack. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to take a while, and he needs to go and play against, top teams and then go back to the major and major four here and see what he ends up doing if he plays like Phase and Thieves and is frying them.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's not that hard, like, in retrospect to be looking that good against those teams when there's only a handful of teams that are really performing at the top level.
Yeah. It's like every era of COD, you can't compare just because like the the top players have the highest ceiling in every era. So you can't compare that ceiling to the ceiling of like the next game. Cuz again, you're playing against the best of the best no matter what era you're in,
Right.
and you can't yeah, I guess you can say, well, take the players now and have them practice, you know, for a month and then have them go back and play Black Ops 2. I'm sure they'll be able to compete, but they're gonna get cooked, in my opinion. Like they're gonna get cooked. And we've seen that in those like Black Ops 2 like throwback streams. Dude, there's a reason why Aches is a fucking like world champ and he talks a bunch of shit and like he can't because he can back it up. Same with Parasite. Like those guys are nuts at those games. And I will say back then, it was definitely way more strategic. Like you can't just run and gun, and just bash your head into hills all the time
Mhm.
and get away with that. Um, in these games, the games are so fast, and that's probably map design too, right? But the games are so fast, you can get away with, okay, maybe we get wiped twice trying to hit this hill, but we can make up for it. Back in the day, if you get wiped twice, that hill's chalked, dude. Like go to the next one. Um, and to the just aiming in general, because in MW3, dude, you and I have hit some shots that we were like, whoa.
In the last year's
That
COD you're talking about.
yeah, yeah, last year's
Yeah.
COD. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, the past couple of CODs in general, I would say. Minus Cold War a bit. I mean, Cold War, like the aim assist was definitely there, but it wasn't as heavy as the ones after that. But anybody that plays COD now, like you can't be like, no, yeah, my shot's like insanely nice. I'm sure it is, but dude, you have to take into account the aiming in this game or in the most recent CODs has been significantly easier
Oh,
than
dude, it
before.
does so much of the work for you. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you see, that classic clip of Scump, like, doing like, the cross map with a scorpion,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that was such a big deal because that was hard to do,
yeah,
But
yeah,
when you watch that nowadays, most people would be like, "Whatever, like,
yeah.
that's it? Like, that's the shot?" It's like, yeah, well, you try that on that Call of Duty title where you
Mhm,
had to actually aim. Yeah, it's, like, insane that he was able to do that, especially back then, But now, to your point, I mean, man, I'll call myself out. Like, there's times where I think I'm fucking God on the sticks. And then I have to go and realize that, yeah, the amount of aim assist that was in play for me to get that cross map kill right now with the 74U,
mhm,
there was a lot at play. Like, my
yeah.
thumbs they're steady, but they're not that steady.
Well,
And I think it
see,
gives a lot of
yeah,
people false confidence.
yeah, it does, but that's the thing. It's like you won't be able to tell how hard it is unless you're actually the one picking up the controller shooting. Like
Yeah.
you and I, and I'm sure other people listening, we are better than average players. Like I would consider us definitely better than average. So if you give someone that's like already good at the game more aim assist, of course we're gonna fry. You know,
Right.
like it's just gonna happen. Um, but obviously, this aim assist is supposed to help, new people like coming into the game. Could you imagine that if people in this game, the hit reg was the same as back then, and people are fucking diving and like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
sliding everywhere?
Right.
I mean, yeah, the the aiming in this game is much much easier, and if you give it to someone that's good, they're gonna be way better than you.
Well, and this plays into the take on the whole debate about the player skill like gap overall, because pretty much everybody in the league, not to say pretty much everybody in the league can shoot. All those guys have
Mhm.
good aim, um, and I'm sure some of it is being aided by the aim assist, but it's not like those guys are. If you take that away, they're trash players. But it puts more of an emphasis, and you can see the difference in people's abilities as to how they play the game. You know, Thieves and FaZe are fundamentally sound teams, and Surge too. Like they're just really good. They know how to play the game. They know the strategies. They have timings down. All that. Um, and that's like the next step in the game where, yeah, you can be some cracked kid who's playing and is, really good. But if you're going to be playing in the league and you got to play as a team, if those guys have the edge over you, or like in the case right now, they have a significant edge over them, it's pretty evident when you see these
Mhm,
games. And OpTic was like that too at times. They got called out all the time being like, they don't know where they're spawning right now. They just
mhm.
don't, they have no idea what's going on. And they got fried because of it.
Yeah, and, like, I'll die on the hill saying that the get COD, before MW19, those were much harder than these CODs in terms of, like, strategy and, punishing the other team. Like, I think nowadays, if you get a team of 4, like, cracked players that say, you know, they don't play strategically, but they can gun and their
Right.
pacing is insanely fast. They have a better chance of beating a Thieves or a FaZe because you can make more mistakes in these type of games.
Yeah, totally.
Um, Versus back then, like if you're playing Black Ops 2, if you take a cracked amateur team against like Complexity, well, actually, the Complexity is a really bad example, actually, because they were really good against like I don't know a bottom like Unite, a bottom
Yeah.
team. They're gonna have a way better chance of beating a cracked amateur team in those games than this because it's all positioning and being way more strategic. It's not as fast paced, I will say. Like I think the players that are, I guess, like in the mid pack, they have a better chance of hanging in those old games than these new ones. Because the new ones, you can just bang your head at the hill over and over and over, keep on making mistakes, but you get those 1 or 2 kills that actually, change the game. Uh, it'll benefit you. But in the old games, if you keep doing that, you're gonna keep getting punished, and you
Right.
will lose. So,
Yeah, so seeing guys come in who they could be just cracked players, and that's all.
mhm.
That's why you see some of these guys come up and they do really well because that's kind of all you need, especially in this title. Like
Yeah.
if you're just have raw gun talent and like you said, you're
Mhm.
just banging to the wall and
Mhm.
fucking going all the time, it looks good. Like Merc is like that. But he's obviously got the fundamentals down too. And
Mhm.
I think he slots in well with that
Mhm.
team. Um, just like their play styles. Um, but man, it was weird watching it because I I could be wrong. I think on almost every map that they played, he was their best player.
Yeah.
Um, and like everyone was hyping him up like he's the final boss, like the guy's insane. And I was just thinking about Shotzi. I'm like, dude, is he bothered by this? That like the attention's on, like it's
Yeah.
just some like some
Yeah.
whack ass shit that I'm thinking. I don't think he is.
No.
Um,
Honestly, it's probably better for him because he's like, I can play my game.
oh, that's what
'Cause,
I'm hoping.
when,
Yeah.
uh when they played on Sunday, who'd they play? They played
They played no, they didn't play
no.
Boston. They did play Boston, on Friday, and then Sunday they played, they played a few games. No, they didn't even play, did they? No, they played Carolina on
Oh,
Saturday.
Carolina Saturday.
Yeah, and
That's
they
what it was.
3-0'd 'em.
Shotzi fucked them up map 1, like, on Vault. It was insane. Um, and I mean, getting the pressure off of him, he can just go and play. He can do whatever he wants.
Right.
But going back to the play style, like I actually think Merc he's a faster player, but I don't think he is that cracked player in my
Okay.
opinion. I like I tip his play style. I love his play style because he definitely plays a lot faster, which is what OpTic needs, like to keep up with Shotzi and Hook. But it's where he's like positioning himself in the game, and you can tell he's very aware of where the other 3 guys are on the map.
Right.
And I mean, you know me, I'm like all about positioning and like getting your cutoffs and whatever. Like that changes the game. If you have a guy that can understand that fully and just and he likes to play around the objective too. And he's watching certain angles. He knows what he needs to do, and he just wins gunfights. That's what you need. And
Yeah.
having a cracked player isn't a bad thing. Ideally, actually, like especially in this game, like you said, if that's your play style, it's really good. And you can actually take that and mold that player into a more strategic player, but they're still cracked.
Right.
It's definitely a lot harder getting a slower strategic player and trying to make them crack because
Oh, yeah,
it's not
it's just never
happening.
gonna
Can't
happen.
happen.
No.
Yeah.
And to your point, yeah, he's like off that first map because I wanted to see what shots he went. Shots he went 35 and 25.
Mhm.
With 7 was this his hill time was 125. Um, and Merc on 22 and 25 with the most time he had a minute 52 in there. Like
Mhm.
I know from that series, like just off that map one, he was doing well and like again playing towards the hill. And then I want to say it was the vault control on the third map. He just went off,
Yeah, he
you
went like
know?
34 and 16 or something
Yeah,
like that.
something that was insane. But I think that's why he's such a valuable player, not just to that team, but in general, because like you said, he can kind of do it all, you know?
Mhm.
He can go and pick up on the little things and play around the team and know just picking up on spawns and routes that are going on. He plays the hill, but if he needs to also pry and just get kills, he totally can.
Mhm. And
Um, and he
he
does.
yeah, that's the thing. He fries and gets kills because he plays around the objective so much. And
Mhm.
it's like if you're really good at playing objective and you can also fry in the mix of everything, dude, that's all you need because that benefits all your teammates around you. Like when
Right.
Shotzi and Dashy and Hook, like they don't need to worry so much about hopping on hill or making up, the death that say Merc had like on the hill every single time. They can just go and do what they want, what they need to do, and that's when they play best.
Yeah. Um, and that's the perfect situation for them. I mean, they finally it seems like right now, I don't want to jinx them, but it seems like they've finally found the team that they're going to stick with
Mhm,
and that they can build something off of. Um, because they just look really well together on the team. I mean, they played Boston, they did lose. It was a pretty close series if I'm not mistaken.
mhm,
That they played against them. Um, but, I didn't think too much on that. I think, Hex said it on the watch party, and I agree with him. It's like, they looked really good, so it's just a sign to see what comes afterwards.
mhm.
And then, of course, they go out and 3-0 Carolina, which, man, that team, like, what a fall from grace. Like, bro, that team blows my mind how they were I mean, we were saying they were the 3rd best team at the beginning of the league, right? Like, it
Mhm.
was, FaZe and Thieves, of course, and then them. Uh to see how much they've regressed and just made bad changes like bro, I'm telling you, when they dropped Vivid, everything went downhill for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they had a couple of struggle series with Vivid, like no doubt,
Mhm,
but dude, then they got rid of him and it's been disaster for them.
mhm.
Yeah, I feel bad for Slasher, of course, on that team. I like him being on Boston, but uh yeah, I have no idea what's happened to them. They just seem like they've completely lost it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a case of all the other teams caught up.
Right.
The Carolina just started off so hot, which I mean, good for them that they started off really hot because they definitely needed it to
Yeah.
even stay in like champs contention. Is that the right word? Contention,
Contention. Yeah.
contention. Yeah. Um, because if they didn't have a hot start, they could be bottom. Yeah, bottom four at this
Oh,
point.
for sure. For
But
sure.
yeah, I think it's just a matter of all these teams just figured it out. They're like, okay, it's late in the season, we're better, and I mean, Miami passed them in terms of points, which is crazy. So
Yeah, and it's some of these teams, they just, talking about the ceiling, they just don't hit it.
yeah,
They get close to it and then maybe they get like complacent and yeah, all the other teams that are working hard and trying to make changes and do the right thing are just plowing forward. Like, Cloud9 with their new roster, they look good too.
mhm,
Um, and then yeah, the teams that have just tried to stick it out. I mean, LAG, I think now they're officially done from champs, right? With Vegas. Um,
Mhm,
and same thing with Vegas. Like they made their roster change. I get them; it's a little bit different.
mhm.
Um, because I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what they're playing for. If they're just gonna be playing for EWC. Um,
Yeah, I feel like
but
with those teams at this point, it's just EWC.
but even still, like, what they need to make changes. Like, I think they should now, or at
Yeah,
least
yeah,
be thinking about it, because if you're not gonna be able to win these matches, like these online qualifiers, um, I mean, they're gonna get smoked at EWC.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, these teams that have stuck together, it's obviously shown that it hasn't really been working for them. And I was gonna kind of end the CDL talk to with Breach because
Mhm.
dude, they're in a weird, weird spot. I
They're weird.
like,
They're like dead middle. It's weird.
yeah,
I
and I
wouldn't.
don't like it.
Well, yeah, they're the only team that hasn't changed. Well, outside of Thieves and FaZe,
Yeah,
Breach is the only team that hasn't changed. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, like they're making champs, so that is a good. But you could say like they've hit their ceiling, but their ceiling is dead middle.
right,
Like where obviously you want to win, right? You want to win a chip, and I think Breach could do it, but again, everything has to align for them. Like Thieves have to, like Thieves, FaZe, they all have to be on an off day. But now that Optic, like they picked up Merc, they look really good. It's worrisome for them. But also, we saw them clutch up and beat Optic. It's just weird. I think they have hit their ceiling, but they're just in the middle. Whereas like Carolina, I think they hit their ceiling way earlier in the season, and then
of course,
they thought, okay, it's not working right now because we played to the best of our ability. Let's drop Vivid, pick up Rex, and they think, okay, our ceiling is going to increase significantly when it went from here to not like down, like
right,
a lower ceiling, or they didn't even move. And that's like a risk you take, right? Like obviously, and with Cloud9, their ceiling was here. They made the switch, and now their team looks significantly better. Now their ceiling could be a lot higher. So if they made that change earlier, like who knows? They could be that eighth spot right now. Um, but it's interesting to me that Breach. We've talked about it. Major two, like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna want to change, and then they go into major three qualifiers, and they just keep making winners bracket. But then
right.
they make it Saturday, they get knocked out. It's
So,
like they're in the
uh,
middle.
and that's the conundrum with them.
Mhm,
They're not a team that I think is going to lose to like the immediate bottom teams. I think they're always going to
mhm,
beat those teams. Um, But then when it comes to the mid pack, it's really a 50-50, and I think
mhm,
now it's starting to be less of a 50-50 in that they probably will lose because Surge and Miami, those are the main teams we're thinking of in the middle.
mhm,
And, I don't want to say like it too early, but I think you probably say Optic is more than likely going to enter into that mid-tier team instead of being a
mhm,
bottom tier team anymore. Um, and can Boston beat those guys? The record shows no, like they're not
mhm,
going to be able to consistently beat them, but they're making champs, which is what they've wanted to do.
mhm,
But I mean, dude, the way they're playing right now, they're not going to win champs.
mhm.
And it's I think what their move is they're afraid that if they
Yeah,
make a change, they're gonna have the Carolina effect where they're gonna be
yeah,
worse,
they're
and then they're
yeah,
gonna be like, "Oh, fuck, dude, like we shouldn't have made that change."
mhm,
Um, but that's where for me, I think you just, you bench somebody, like
mhm,
the player is that you're thinking you want to swap out and who believe you can get that's better.
mhm,
Um, I think you try him out. Why not? I mean, what's the
mhm,
worst that could happen? Again, you've got champs. Like that's really what everyone's playing for now.
mhm.
And we like to be optimistic, of course, but they're not going to win Major Four. Like the way they're
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
and just in general, it's
mhm,
not happening. But you know, could they have a closer fight? To be in the top three and top four? Absolutely, they could.
mhm,
And I don't know if they're going to do that, and I really don't think they're going to do that with the current roster. I think they have to
yeah,
go and get somebody else.
mhm,
Um, And I saw Mercules saying, was it Standy and who's the guy that play? Dude, this is the second time in a row. I remember we forgot his name. Pro Loop
Mhm,
from OpTic. Those two guys, he's like they're insanely good players. Like,
mhm,
man, if they're available and you want to try to slot them in, like for Boston, I don't think
mhm.
that's a bad move. I don't think that's a bad move for any of those teams, but we could
Yeah,
benefit
yeah,
from it, so we should try that.
yeah. I mean, see that it's just a tough call. Like, this is where you and I differ. Like, I wouldn't make a change
Right,
because you have a whole year's worth of chemistry right now in this season. You risk that, you- you're first round and you're out. And you can argue, well, that could happen anyways. But if you go based off of like points and based off of matches, we haven't been getting, double first rounded from the mid pack teams. I think we're like 0-6 against Surge or something like that though. Like Surge just has our number. Um, but it's like we were worried about them not making a change going into Major 3, and they still hung in there, which I think is a good thing because they could have been like Carolina, right? Like they made a change and now they're just awful. And I get that every team you know, has to they should shoot for winning a championship. Completely agree. It's just so hard when there's so little teams. Like I there's only going to be like one champion and there's probably 3 best teams right now out of the 12. That's a fourth of the league, right?
right,
Like you got to tell me who we're picking up that you you have to guarantee that you're better by picking up this person at
right,
this point. And whether I mean Standy and Prolude are a good shout because they've been in the league before, but you have to weigh out, all right, are they one of them replacing Purge, which if we do make a change, I don't think you should touch Purge or Snoopy. I think you're replacing like Wake or Cammy. It's got to be like one of the ARs because statistically, those two together, like they're just so slow. Though we need like faster players to keep up with Purge and Snoopy.
right,
Um, but yeah, it's like, are you guaranteed that you will be better by say putting in Standy? That that you don't know. You're throwing away the
yeah,
chemistry you have all season for that.
right,
And that person, I don't fucking care who you are. If you get benched and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna slot you back in because the other person played like ass," dude, you're gonna
right.
be like, "Really? So
Yeah,
you
I
think
mean,
I'm ass?"
it's just, again, it's a tough one. It's a risk,
Mhm,
either way because,
mhm,
you know, I mean, I look, I think they're gonna stick together. I don't think that team splits up.
yeah,
But they're kind of on a downward trajectory right now. And
mhm,
do they keep that up? It's like, well, it'll definitely be hindsight afterwards, saying, well, they should have made a change, but
mhm,
that could definitely happen. But Boston's problem is they're just so inconsistent. There's some days
mhm,
like, they play the new OpTic team and they beat them and you're, stoked about it. And like, yeah, Boston's looking good. And then they go and play again and they get absolutely world starred. And
mhm,
you're like, "Okay, I don't know what to think of them,"
yeah,
But, um, yeah, it's a tough call, regarding that team. Again, you know, I don't wanna say that I think they should make a change,
mhm,
um, like, indefinitely, like, they need to make a change, but, um, yeah, screw it. I would say that. I would say
yeah,
I say they should make a change. Yeah, I
for
would
who?
say so. That's the thing. I mean, I would go and
Okay.
try one of
Yeah,
those guys though. But like
for
seriously, I'd
who?
go take a look at like Standy or Prolu, yeah, and get rid
Yeah,
of Cammy or Wake, one of those guys. Because my thought is with that team,
mhm,
they're just they're on the decline and
mhm,
they're always been in the same spot. And yeah, I mean, yeah, we're happy for champs, but we're not gonna win it. So
yeah,
like, what are
mhm,
we happy for? Are we gonna try to like say we're gonna shoot for fourth,
mhm,
or like shoot for fifth? Like if that's what you want, like they want to do, then just keep the team that they've got. They'll
mhm,
do it. Like they'll probably get sixth or seventh place and get some cash there thrown their way. But if they want to go and improve and like get to that next spot,
mhm.
I don't know if they do it with this roster.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a tough call. It's a good like it's a good debate, but it's like I just think it's we're all so biased week to week because I not even week to week, day to day. It's
Yeah,
like okay,
absolutely.
like sir, if you're looking at it, Surge is shit. They can't beat Thieves. Like Boston has beaten FaZe. Like
Right.
they've beaten the top teams before, and it's like again, COD is very day to day, and it's realistically, if you want to win an event, like you need to be a FaZe or a Thieves. You have to have like those superstar players because like yeah, okay, yeah, Surge they picked up Neptune, but they haven't won anything. They can't get over that hump.
No, they can't, but I would say, to counter that, I mean, they've made it to a grand finals twice,
Yeah, yeah, you
like,
can
they've
counter that.
gotten
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
and if Boston was consistently getting 3rd place or 4th place,
hmm
you're crazy to make a change. You're
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
like, for me, I'm like, "That's really good." Like,
hmm
along with what you're saying, you're gonna have to find some fucking fairy tale players out
hmm
there that would all of a sudden take your team to be able to rival FaZe and Thieves,
Yeah.
Or like we're saying, always COD so day to day.
hmm
Just hope and pray that they play like trash that day and you
Yeah.
take full advantage of it. But to be beating Surge and Miami, which though and Ultra, 'cause we haven't said anything
hmm
about them, like to beat those teams, um, with the current roster they have, I don't know. I mean, of course they won't beat them. They could get or what's his name? They could get Pro Loot or any of those guys.
hmm
They're not going to all of a sudden enter, Thieves and Phase territory. But
Yeah.
could they beat Miami and Surge and Ultra? I mean, that's the risk aspect of it. Do you
Yeah,
take
yeah, yeah.
that chance?
Exactly. It's like I'm playing conservative when people will say, "Well, you should be a GM." I'd much rather take the guarantee than risk it all and fuck it all up.
Right. No,
Like,
and I hear you. I mean,
but like
I
it,
think I think I think there's absolutely there's both sides.
yeah, yeah, it's 100%. Like you can have both sides, but like the like Seattle, for example, going into this year, I look at that Seattle team. I'm like, dude, they're not making grand finals. Like you can compare that team to Boston. To me, they're pretty comparable. They're very mid pack. But
Right.
the Seattle team, they just work really well together on this game. And then Ultra was like questionable. Like we didn't know how well they were actually going to do without Scrap and Envoy. Obviously, now Kleenex has like picked it up, and same with Insight. Like they're playing really, really well now. Um, and then Miami just kind of came out of nowhere. Like I feel like Miami was just really mid too, and then they picked up Super, and now they're like getting better every single match.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
totally.
but again,
Yeah,
you look at
they
that
took a
team and you're
risk.
like, yeah, then it worked out for them. Or you can
Well,
be like, yeah,
could be like OpTic.
exactly, yeah, dude,
they're, they're like, let's try this guy. It doesn't work. Oh shit.
dude, no, but see, isn't that crazy? Like, this is where I say like chemistry really does matter because
Yeah,
Miami,
totally.
they've played together for so long, and no shade to Super at all, but like I didn't know who this guy was at all until they got picked up. And if you're comparing that to okay, like we're dropping not dropping, we're picking up Super Optics, like, yeah, we're gonna drop Pred and Kenny and pick up Skies and Hook. You're telling me you think Miami's gonna outperform like Optic?
Right.
Well, it's crazy. And that's where
Yeah, it
COD
is.
is you
And
can't predict it. You just
you
don't
can't
know.
predict it. Well, and I'll say too, bro, like closing this whole thing, man, to me, like you were saying, the whole thing with Boston, well, they put him on the bench and then they bring him back. You'd be like, yo, what the fuck?
Dude, yeah.
Bro, Hook though, how does he do it?
Well,
How does he
yeah,
do it? This guy
yeah.
gets put on the team, does okay,
Mhm,
dropped. Then they do even worse without him.
mhm.
They're like, "Okay, can we have you back?" And he's like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
sure." And then they bring him back. Now we change our mind. Like
yeah.
that guy.
He
I don't know if he's a one of one person to be like that.
he
But
must be a very I mean, based on, like, just seeing him in videos and stuff, seems like a very chill guy, and he's just happy to play COD. But also too, it's like, it's Optic. I feel like if Optic's knocking on your door, like, you're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, definitely." A guy that I feel really bad for is like those bottom players, like entering the league, like Fellow, for example. Every
Right.
chance he gets, he like plays pretty good. And then he gets dropped at the end of the year. He's back in
Oh, it's
challengers,
terrible.
and he's
Yeah.
frying in challengers. Halfway through the season, he gets picked up again to
Oh,
another bottom tier team, and then
it's
it's just
so
a
dumb.
fucking cycle.
Yeah. No, it's a real problem. I mean, I hate seeing that. And that's why with that LAG team, since they got officially eliminated, like
Mhm.
I hate seeing some of those players, like again, him and seeing guys like Lunars. I mean, you could say what you want about some of these guys, but um I
They got
think
dealt a
and
bad hand.
especially yeah, I was
Yeah,
trying to think of a way to say it. Like I was trying to say that they could do a lot better than what they showed this year.
they could
And
have.
they totally could.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is just gonna it hurts them so bad. It's like
Mhm,
you got absolutely smoked like all year, never showed any real signs of life.
mhm.
And they got Kismet on there, who I think a lot of these teams, if they picked him up, they would be like instantly better. You
OpTic
know,
Kismet.
uh, bro,
Off
I'm
season, you
saying,
never know.
I'm saying he'd be cool on the team.
Yeah, and I
I like him.
I I do think I do think Merc is staying on OpTic. I mean, based on his
Oh
performance, he's
yeah.
staying OpTic for
Oh,
a
he's staying
while.
on. Oh yeah.
Those 3 are, and when I say 3, I mean Merc, Dashi, and Shotzi.
Dude, I don't know why, bro, but when I look at Merc, I can't see him in anything else but Thieves. That guy just screams Thieves to me. There's
Merc?
something that yeah,
Yeah.
there's something about him,
Mhm.
like, I don't know, maybe it's because he, like, smokes weed a lot from what I've heard of him,
Yeah.
like him and Scrap and Ghosty, like, that squad, I
Mhm,
don't know, there's something about him I could just because all those guys are,
mhm,
like, really chill, laid back players, you know, and then but then they just absolutely fry, you know? They're,
mhm.
like, so calm, they're
That's
not like minus Scrap, you know?
yeah, yeah. That's it's a hard combination. The why I like Merc a lot because I think he's a true flex. Because every time they go to his POV, like, he's switching weapons all the time.
Oh, yeah, all
Like,
the time. Yeah.
he's on an AR or he's on a sub, and the other a lot of other players that are flexes, they're not really flexes. Like, they'll just use, um, like, an AR or sub 80% of the time during the map.
Right, but, like, for him, when you watch him, like, there's
It's
certain hills
situational.
that he
Yeah.
yeah, big situationals and hills, like, in rotations that he's trying to take over, like, yeah, he's swapping all the time.
Mhm,
Um, no, he's for sure gonna stay on Optic for a long time. I think that's why Hex is, obviously happy, he's happy
mhm.
to see that they're doing well, but, the kid looks like he is the truth. He is the
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
that they've been
He
looking
definitely
for.
is.
Um So I think he's going to stay with them for a long time. It is unfortunate. I do think Hook's pretty much going to be gone off that team at the end of the year, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Um, but who are they going to put in his spot? Like again, they're probably going to get
That's
maybe Optic Kismet. Who
maybe
knows?
that's the thing, like, off season's gonna be crazy. Like, who it really depends who is, on the market,
Absolutely.
right? Like, again, you're not gonna drop someone unless you know it's gonna be a guaranteed, like, on paper, you'll look
Right.
better, you know?
Right.
Like, you're always gonna try to upgrade. Um,
Simp free agent.
dude, yeah. Eh,
What?
if if anyone on FaZe becomes a free agent, that's like you throw your money at all
Oh
of them.
yeah.
Like,
You're like
I don't care what team you are, you're looking.
how many commas?
Yeah. Like,
What you
dude,
want? You want
if,
two? You want
uh,
three?
if Cell is, a free agent,
Oh
if you're
my god.
Thieves, you're Optic, you have to
Oh yeah.
consider.
You're
You
you're
have to think
yeah.
about it.
Dude,
Yeah,
consider it. Yeah, bro, you're
you
you're
have
over here like yeah, you have to. Yeah, you're just making sure you've got enough money
yeah,
to be able to do that. You're like, all right, let's get ready. Like, we're gonna
yeah.
be throwing some cash at this guy.
Those the FaZe and Thieves, all the players on those teams, like, if they don't sign again for whatever reason, you have to think about changing up your team, regardless if your team
Absolutely.
chemistry is good or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I always love the roster mania aspect of the season, so it's gonna be exciting. But uh, yeah, I don't know actually how many weeks we have left of the qualifiers. Do we have just like do we have one or
2
two more?
2 more weeks?
Yeah, two more
Well, by
weeks.
the time they're listening, they'll
Right, one
only
more.
1 more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and say too, my prediction with Rocker is completely chalked because they're not gonna make champs. Based
Oh, yeah,
they
yeah, I
they
know.
they cannot. I thought they would be able to close game 5s at this point. They cannot close game 5s. Like, dude, they're right, it's a Boston effect from MW2.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
terrible.
they cannot close it out. Like, they run with their heads off, like, at the end. I don't know
So
what happened.
yeah, and they beat I wanna see who it was on, was it a Friday match that they played? Nah, I don't think it was that. There was one of the matches that they
Mhm.
played, yeah, now, yeah, I can't remember which one it was, where they got reverse swept. I think it was from last week, yeah,
Yeah, last week. Yeah.
yeah, when they played Falcons, that
Yeah,
was pathetic, and then they
yeah.
went up against, LAG on Saturday,
Mhm.
and they almost lost it too.
Almost got
Yeah.
reverse swept.
Right, and I heard Kenny saying he had, like, a migraine or something.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Bro, what?"
yeah,
Like, you gotta be kidding me, man.
yeah. And now C9 with their roster change, so they're the ones that look like they're putting up a fight for that 8th
Oh,
spot.
yeah.
They can
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah.
Um, they close out a couple of their matches, and they gotta hope that OpTic loses.
Right.
Uh, there's a lot of OpTic's gotta lose, C9's gotta win. Boston has to continue, like, winning or at least be mid-pack and just
Right.
continue to stay mid and go into the major and make it to Saturday, and they're
Yeah.
good. Like, this is big if OpTic doesn't win anything,
Right.
this qualifier, which would be kinda crazy. Or if
Oh,
they
yeah.
just go mid-pack and they go to the qualifier and they don't make it far, dude, you are worried because if C9's kicking up, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it could still get dicey,
Mhm.
for sure, but
That's a great
yeah.
story, though. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah, it'd be so good.
OpTic gets knocked out early in the qualifiers, and C9 if C9 say, like, C9 needs to make it to Sunday, they're in chance. If they don't make it to Sunday, OpTic's in. Dude,
Yeah.
everyone OpTic's
Well,
just
dude,
like, "Oh my god. This is
it
stressful."
was it was like that year in Vanguard when we were watching that. Remember when we
Mm,
were in New York and the subliners, like, they had to make an insane
yeah,
run, and they did.
and yeah,
Like, yeah, that was legendary.
mhm,
Like, it was such a good storyline. I mean, I'm always down for storylines, even if it's gonna break some hearts of fans or whatever, I don't really
mhm,
give a damn. I just wanna see, you know, I wanna see, like, the underdogs win. I love
yeah,
that. It's always exciting.
yeah. Yeah, do it for the storyline. I
I
do wanna
know,
see
right?
that, but it
Yeah.
does suck being on the other end where, like, you have no control of it. Like, that's the
Right.
worst, when you're out of the tournament and now you're just hoping that
Yeah.
this team loses, and you can't do
You
anything
just
about
yeah,
it.
exactly, just hoping luck, like, plays on your side.
Yeah. You don't wanna be in that position. That's why you gotta
No,
win.
no. Yeah, that's why you gotta
Yeah.
win,
Yeah.
right? But, yeah, we'll see where, how the matches end up going and see if they play towards that because all these matches are important, that some of these
Mhm.
bottom teams are playing, trying to fight for their spot for champ, so, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching them, and then
Yeah,
getting the major, of course, will be
I
good.
think it's just C9 and OpTic at this point
Yeah,
because,
that's
dude,
exactly.
when I was watching, the LAG match against, Rocker,
Yeah.
dude, at one point, I was like, I kinda forgot that LAG was just a team this whole year
Nah, straight up.
because they haven't done anything.
D no, dude, they again, they were like I wanted to see about let me go pull it up because
Because I
the
feel like
stat was so bad,
they're
dude.
like 4
Like,
and 24. Well, they have like the same stat as Falcons, but you know what's funny? I feel like Falcons were just so bad that it outshadowed how bad LAG was, and it kind of went under the radar of how bad they were, but they're pretty similar.
oh, yeah, so, yeah, check it, man. So, Falcons is last. They're 2 and 26, which is just unbelievable. And then LAG is 4 and 24.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you ain't that much better, you know? But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Everyone was just shitting on the Falcons, and
Yeah.
rightfully so
Yeah.
because that team was so bad. Like,
Yeah.
there was still a gap between how terrible Falcons were and how terrible
Mhm.
LAG was. Like, it wasn't massive, but it was still a decent
Yeah,
size.
yeah, yeah.
But then the gap from them to everybody
Yeah.
else was just like, I mean, it was terrible.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that team is obviously gonna blow it up. I mean, it of course they're just sticking together now because what's the point, Like
Yeah.
they're
Dude,
not gonna get rid of each other now.
they're gonna change after champs. Like a lot of these teams, I think the bottom 4 teams especially, they'll change going into EWC because
Yeah,
that's another big champs, and the season's over technically
right.
after champs. So get new rosters. Go go into
That's what we
EWC.
need, bro.
You can possibly win like a couple mil. You know,
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
might as
mean,
well
dude,
try.
if you're trying to make that much money, yeah, dude, you're taking risks. You're like, dude, we're pushing all the chips in.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
and
if
you're
I
guaranteed a
want to be
spot
playing this.
anyways.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
which I don't know how I feel about that a little bit. 'Cause imagine like you go to the Super Bowl, right? You got your COD champs. You grinded all year, and only 8 teams make it, and those bottom four don't, obviously, right? But those bottom four are like, I just got to wait a couple weeks, and now I'm playing in like a bigger tournament with even more money, and I'm guaranteed money.
Yeah,
So
I mean, the way I see that, one, like, obviously, it's okay. It's good for the teams and, like,
yeah,
just the whole thing, to get the publicity. But I'd say too, um, it makes some of those matches more interesting, because if you have all
mhm.
those teams playing at EWC and then they're playing for, like, the last couple of spots there. I mean, yeah, they are like, maybe they're playing for a bit more because they actually have something to play for. They're all going to
Yeah.
get paid. You know what I mean? Like, I do agree.
You
It
think
is
the money
weird.
with a competition, like, it'll drive them to play better
That's the hope,
or
yeah.
try
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
these guys are actually it's not like they're just playing on Thursday,
yeah,
at Major 4, and they're like, "Look, this is probably gonna be the only match we play today."
yeah,
And it's for nothing, so who
mhm,
really cares? But if you're at EWC and you're like, "It's the only match we're gonna play," and, but we're still playing, like, we could make 20 grand each here if we win this,
mhm.
I'd probably play a little bit harder.
But, yeah, I would
But
hope. Yeah.
but I would hope but what do I know?
Yeah. I don't know, it's just, like it's weird having the event right after COD Champs.
Yeah, no,
It's like,
I
well,
it is.
what's the point of the season, like, grinding
Right,
all that much when you're playing in an even bigger prize pool tournament, and
yeah.
you're making it.
Yeah,
But I guess, like,
but
the season's like a tryout not tryout, but you're not promised a spot into EWC as a player. Like, as LAG,
right.
dude, they're making a change. Like,
Yeah, no
at
doubt.
least either the entire team's getting wiped, which would suck because now those players aren't gonna be able to play in the biggest tournament, or 3 of them are getting dropped.
Right. Yeah, so,
So,
those guys, they still have to play for it, I mean, they gotta put in
yeah.
some effort because, yeah, I mean, I would imagine that Kismet's gonna be the only guy they keep on
Yeah,
that team, and
yeah.
then everybody else
Or
they're gonna say goodbye to.
Kiss is like, "Yo, let me play, but free me after this
Right.
tournament."
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. And then
And
OpTic goes and picks him up.
yeah, and Gotaga, they just need to fucking get rid of the LAG brand and, like, make a whole new brand.
Yeah,
'Cause
totally.
I
That
think
brand's
Ake said
cursed.
it. Yeah, it's cursed. Ever since he joined that team and left, they've only lost.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely cursed.
They haven't had a good year, so forget about it. You got time to rebrand, refigure out what you're gonna do there because it's a joke.
Yeah. And then going into the offseason too, like, last thing, Ben was talking about how, like, a couple Saudi teams more Saudi investors wanna come in and, like, buy up spots, and apparently Boston's one of them, which so I don't know, obviously, like, I have no idea how it's gonna work. If they're just gonna buy up the spot and the Boston Breach brand, like, see ya. Like, it's just gone, and I don't know, we're just gonna have, like, a whole new team or whatever, or what's gonna happen. But I hope we're not losing, like, brands like that, because well, one, it would just suck for us because then we don't, you know, we've been cheering on Breach ever since they were created, and then
Right,
now we won't have a team or like a home team, I will say.
right, right.
Um, but are the Saudis just going to come in and like just buy up like half the league?
Yeah, I heard that too. I don't really know how to feel about it because I guess it all depends on what their intentions are, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
If they just wanna be putting a bunch of money into the
yeah,
scene and all that, and if that's what they're gonna do,
yeah,
then I think that's great. It's
yeah.
like, why not? But yeah, if they were gonna, again, like, big thing with you're saying, getting rid of a lot of these brands and they bring in their own stuff, um, I wouldn't hate it, but it would be a shame, because there's a lot of good brands. Like, I saw, I think it was maybe yesterday, like some of the logos and just brands that have gone from the CDL,
Hmm.
which it's surprising how many like you think about already. And there were a lot of really good ones that,
Hmm.
for whatever reason, they just didn't work out and they had to go and change. Boston would definitely be a tough one to go.
Mm,
Or just the breach in general. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great brand, great logo.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, if they got rid of that, it would suck. But if they just went in and pretty much kept it the same, but poured money into it, so
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had some influence, I think that'd be a huge win.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I just hope they don't come in and help the scene with all the money that they have because COD fucking needs it,
Right, right.
honestly, at this point. But, don't ruin all the teams. That would suck because the league, as people say, it's the least competitive it has been in years, or it's the most competitive it has been in years.
Right.
Pick your poison. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think this offseason is gonna be wild, like, in terms of roster changes and
Yeah.
then just, like, new investors coming in general or, like, people dropping out and wanting to sell teams. It's gonna be another big offseason.
Yeah, totally. I think, man, it seems like every year we say that, but I mean, it is true. It's like every year is a little
Mhm.
bit crazier than the last because of the state of the game and the state of the CDL.
I am getting
And
worried, though, like, year after year because it's, like, L after L after
right,
L. It's
right, and exactly. There's no
and
year that's coming back where they have a really, really strong one and everyone's excited about it. You
yeah,
know?
investors are like, it's not good to hear that people wanna sell their teams and get out,
Right,
like, at
right.
all. And then you hear challenger players that don't, "Oh, the cups don't matter."
Yeah, and all that bullshit. Yeah. No, that like again, there's a lot of negativity that's around it right now, and I hope it doesn't continue.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe if these rumors are true and the Saudi investors come in, maybe they can breathe some new life into this whole thing,
Yeah,
and we'll
throw a
be on a
bag.
better track.
But don't
Yeah, I
throw a
know, right?
bag at just to throw a bag. Be smart
Right, right, right.
doing that
Exactly.
'cause,
So
yeah,
yeah,
you didn't.
we'll have to wait and see though, because who knows what they can do with it. But nah, I am excited for the off season too. It'll be a good one for sure.
Yeah. But yes, I mean, so by the time you guys listen to this, you got one more week of qualifiers, and we got a major four and a DreamHack in
Hmm.
Texas,
Yeah,
which
it's gonna be a good one.
I'm excited about that one because, dude, the OpTic crowd, Merc was like, dude, the ultra the crowd in Florida, he was like, that was crazy. And people were joking at how small that crowd was. I can't wait till he's out on stage in front of the green wall. Dude, he's gonna go off.
Oh, it's gonna be nuts.
And
Yeah, I
he
can't wait.
in I think it was in the OpTic podcast, but he was like, I love pressure. He's like, I play so much better with pressure. And
Yeah.
clearly he does because he looks like their best player. Or no, he is
Mhm.
their best player right now. So the kid's gonna keep it up. That
Oh,
dude's frying.
absolutely.
So if Merc, He, uh he's gonna be a core of OpTic for a while, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I totally believe he is. I think he's gonna stay on that team for a long, long time,
Mhm,
especially if they keep playing the way they are, there's no
mhm.
reason to get rid of him. He is the best player on that team, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Shout out Hex. Shout out Methods. Apparently, they were
Making the right
both of them.
move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
making the right GM moves.
exactly, there we go.
But yeah, I think we covered basically everything we want to talk about. It was a lot
Yeah,
of a
man.
lot of Merc talk, a lot of OpTic talk, future
It's
of the
big
CDL.
news, bro. It's big news. These
It
guys
is.
are turning it around, so I'm excited for them.
Yeah, hopefully, next episode, it's, OpTic didn't lose everything.
Right. What went wrong?
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. But yeah, if you guys are on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe over there, and let us know if you think the OpTic Merc move was the best move that OpTic has made in most recent years, or if you think he's a generational talent. Let me know if I'm cooked for saying he's not, or if you actually think he is a generational talent. And so, but yeah, we're also on anchor.fm/the COD Casuals, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, all that stuff. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing, we chop it up too, and we post it on Instagram Reels and TikTok. And make sure to leave a 5-star rating on
Only.
Spotify. Only 5 stars because it does help us out a ton.
Mhm.
And make sure to leave an answer like in the poll that we put down too.
Yeah,
Um, again, is Merc a generational talent or not? Let us know. And I think that's it.
I think that's it, bro.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been episode 222 of the COD Casuals. We're your host, Justin,
And I'm Mike.
and we'll see you guys next week.
Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.